out of the sea. Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea. According to the Bible, a sea represents a heavily populated area. The waters which you saw are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. So this beast power would arise from a heavily populated area. 2. The Antichrist receives its throne, power, and authority from the dragon. The dragon gave him his power, his throne, and great authority. This beast would receive its power, authority, and even its capital city or seat from the dragon. Who or what is the dragon? We know from the Bible that the dragon represents Satan. However, the Bible is actually more specific about who this dragon is in verse 2. And another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great fiery red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 diadems on his heads. And the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth, to devour her child as soon as it was born. She bore a male child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. This passage refers to the birth of Christ and how Satan tried to destroy Christ at his birth. Which power did Satan work through to try and accomplish this? It was Rome. Herod, the king of the pagan Roman Empire, tried to destroy Jesus at his birth. So, according to Revelation, Rome would give this Antichrist beast its power, throne, and capital city. Some of you may be starting to see which historical power matches these descriptions. 3. The Antichrist becomes a global power. All the world marveled and followed the beast, and authority was given him over every tribe, tongue, and nation. Clearly, this Antichrist would have global, worldwide power and influence. 4. The Antichrist is guilty of blasphemy. On his head's a blasphemous name, and he was given a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. Then he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, his tabernacle, and those who dwell in heaven. The Bible defines blasphemy in 2 ways: claiming the power to forgive sins and claiming to be God himself. This beast power would be guilty of both forms of blasphemy. Which organization could this be referring to? We will soon find out. 5. The Antichrist rules for 42 prophetic months. He was given authority to continue for 42 months. In Bible prophecy, 1 prophetic day equals 1 literal year. We see this principle in Numbers 14:34 and also Ezekiel 4:6, which says, I have appointed thee each day for a year. So this Antichrist power would rule for 42 prophetic months, which is 1260 days in the Hebrew calendar, which amounts to 1260 literal years. Interestingly, this 1260-year reign for the Antichrist is referenced 7 times in the prophetic books of Daniel and Revelation. 6. The Antichrist receives a deadly wound that is later healed. And I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed. The Bible speaks of this beast power receiving a deadly wound which